Hey guys, I am recording this on my phone, so I have no idea how the audio is gonna work, but I'm waking up. Today is Saturday, June 12th, and it is my last day in Houston, and to make this video, just talking about my experience here because it has truly been an amazing time. I mean, simple to some people, some of the things that I say, oh, I did this or I did that. It's not that I did a whole lot, but it's just been such an amazing time. Even I have a sinus infection I'm trying to get over, so I sound funny to myself. Don't know how I sound to you. But anyway, this trip has been so great, and it's just been such a solid reminder of God's goodness, His grace, His provision, and I had to share it with you because it's just been amazing, and I'm in awe right now of how He worked everything out. And so let me try to start from the beginning. I don't know how far back to go because this trip, how it even came about, excuse me, I kind of hijacked my husband's work trip. He was supposed to be coming to Houston for 2 weeks. This has been planned since the end of 2020. And we kind of thought, oh, let's make a family trip out of it. Like, it'll be the end of June, and you know, we'll make it a family thing. We'll take the kids and all that. And so things got complicated with trying to plan for the kids to come. But even outside of that, we, of course, have not been in the best space. And some people, maybe that makes you uncomfortable that I'm open about that. But here's the thing. God's gonna get the glory out of my life in every area. So I'm not gonna be ashamed to talk about certain things, because when it comes to my marriage, either God is gonna turn everything around and get the glory out of that, or He's going to continue to move me forward and get the glory out of my life. So either way, He wins, and either way I win. So not stressing that. My point is, when 2021 came in, just a few months into this year, our marriage hit rock bottom, and I was not sure whether or not I should still go on this trip. Well, let me just fast forward. Long story short, my flight was non-refundable, so I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I still go and just, we try to figure things out, maybe that'll give us the time we need to figure some stuff out, because we don't ever have time for us. But anyway, his trip got canceled, and I decided to come alone. So for some people, like, well, why Houston? First of all, I always want to go everywhere. Like, anyone who knows me knows that I just want to travel. I want to go everywhere. I don't care where it is. And I've always wanted to come to Houston. And so I've only been to Texas one other time. That was Dallas a couple of years ago, and I loved it. So when I had the opportunity to come here, everything just fell into place. It just seemed like the perfect time for God to let me have some time for me, which is something that I've needed for way too long. And so anyway, here I am. And let me tell you how He has literally provided for me every step of the way. A couple of weeks ago, because actually my husband's trip got canceled at the last minute, so up until a week ago we thought he was even still coming, and I was the one unsure. The kids are still in school right now, so it wasn't really working out to bring them along, and we just decided, oh, it'll be us. But that didn't work out either. So anyway, a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn, I had a friend from high school reach out to me, and it was so out of the blue. I haven't spoken to this person since graduation. I graduated in 2008, so that's been 13 years ago or so. So anyway, this guy reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I don't want to give his information because he's not on social media. He's so not into, just being public with, I'm sure, his acts of kindness. He would not want me talking about it, but I have to brag about what he's done because it's just been a super huge blessing to me. But anyway, this guy from high school, his name is Mohsen. He is Middle Eastern, and we were always, cordial with one another in high school, but we've never spoken since then. And mind you, that's in 2008 when I graduated. And so he randomly, several weeks ago now, sent me a message on LinkedIn. He's like, hey, I know this might sound crazy, but I just randomly thought of you. And like, I was seeing your name and your face in my mind, and it just was so strong, like I couldn't, ignore it. And so I just decided to look you up. And he sent me this, so he looked me up on LinkedIn because he's not on social media, and he found me, and he sent me this long, beautiful message about how I had always been, and this is not to like boost me up, I got a point, so I'm gonna get to it. He was talking about how I had always been extremely kind to him, and he had never forgotten it. Like, he was just like, you were one of the most genuine people. You were always kind. You were the same person. And then he told me, he said, I don't know, anything you have going on in your life, but I want to let you know that I admire your faith so much. And he was saying that one of the biggest thing he remembered about me was my faith, and how he was like, it was just so different back then for you to be just some high school, I accidentally cut my camera off. He was saying how he remembered, he was like, you were just some high school girl, and even back then, like, you could tell you were solid and just firm in your faith, and you never let anybody take that away from you, and I admire that about you. And this coming from someone that I don't even know, like, super personally. I haven't spoken to them in over a decade, and somebody of a completely different faith. Like, he is, Muslim. I'm trying to say it the right way because I say Muslim, but, so I'll probably be flip-flopping back and forth with that. But for him to tell me that he admires my faith and we come from completely different faith backgrounds, it just spoke volumes to me. So long story short, let me tell you, Mohsen lives in Houston, and he said, you really don't know how your kindness has affected me and how it pushed me through certain situations. He was probably a first generation to come over here from his country, and he didn't know English when he came here. He was like 9 years old, and so by the time we met, I'm guessing late middle school, maybe probably high school, but I don't care about that. I always love different people from different backgrounds. And so apparently, I don't remember being extra kind to him. Like, I was just me. And apparently that just had a huge impact on him. And he's not the first person who has reached out to say something like that to me. And it just makes me emotional, because you don't know how your kindness affects people. You literally don't know what your kindness does to people. Let me get it together here. You just don't know what it does. And apparently, I'm just grateful that I've been able to sow those seeds into people's lives, and that at a time in my life where I need kindness returned to me, these people that I have not spoken to or known for years, that God would use those moments to have them reach out to me and be a blessing to me. This is so much deeper than I can even articulate right now, y'all. But anyway, let me walk around. Maybe that'll help me get myself together. Basically, Mohsen lives in Houston, and he's like, if you're ever in Houston, please let me know, because I would love to repay you for your kindness. Like, you have no idea how much it touched me, and I just would want to pay you back. Like, let me take you and your family to dinner or something. I would love to do that. And I was like, you're not gonna believe this. I'm gonna be in Houston in a few weeks. My husband and I are coming, and so he had planned that he would take us out to eat, show us the city a little bit, whatever we were open to, he wanted to do. And so that was gonna be the plan. Well, then I ended up coming by myself. And so long story short, he picked me up from the airport. He's like, what time does your flight get in? I won't even be able to count all the ways that he's been a blessing to me. But he's like, what time does your flight get in? So I told him. He's like, oh, well, I'm picking you up. I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't have to do that. He was like, and I know you'll be hungry, so let's go get something to eat. I'll take you to one of my favorite places. He took me to this Mediterranean spot named Fadi's, and I absolutely loved it. I love Mediterranean food. I love eating food from different cultures and things, and so that was right up my alley. And so I got in on Wednesday. Wednesday evening is when I got here, and I'm sorry, I really don't mean to be crying like this. I'm overwhelmed by God's goodness. I'm overwhelmed. So anyway, he picked me up from the airport and we went out to eat at a Mediterranean restaurant, and then he just rode me around the town to show me different areas. So for a few hours, we kind of just rode around, and he showed me, he's in the process of like trying to buy a house. So he's like showing me the different areas and neighborhoods, and I'm into that. I was like, listen, I watch HGTV for fun. So this is up my alley. Like he showed me the house where apparently Beyonce grew up in, and we just drove around these different neighborhoods, and it was just so cool, y'all. It was just so cool and so genuine. The last hour that I was with him that day, we literally sat and talked about religion. We talked about God. We talked about our faith. We talked about why do I believe what I believe. He talked about why he believes what he believes. And it wasn't a threat to one another. It wasn't a threat to my faith to let a Muslim man talk to me about his faith. It wasn't a threat to him to let a Black Christian woman share her faith with him. It was just such a beautiful display of what I feel is God's love. And I told him, I'm like, you realize I can't even sit down with other Christians sometimes and do this because there's so much division. I can't, and I'm like stuffy now because I'm crying, so I'm sorry. But I'm like, I can't even sit down with other Christians and have conversations like this. So the fact that I'm sitting down with you, a Muslim man who's totally dedicated to his faith, and like you're hearing me out and I'm hearing you out and we're respecting one another. It was just such a beautiful display of what I truly feel like is God's love, and we don't have enough of that. And so for all these people out here who are one religion or the other and you shun people because they're different from you, you gotta get over it. You gotta stop doing that, because we can learn so much from people, and I've always been open to those experiences, which is why I feel like God was able to bless me with an experience like this, because I'm open to it. I'm not closed off because, oh, well, we have a different faith, so we're not even gonna talk about stuff like that. It was such an amazing conversation, and I believe it helped us to each grow within our faith. We were also able to see so many different commonalities that we have. Like we would talk about different scriptures for me, or like different passages within the Quran that literally they're giving the same message. And so to our core, yes, there are differences, but I'm talking about our personhood, who I am, who he is. To our core, we believe the same types of things. We have the same interests. Our faith is just so similar in a lot of ways, and I loved it. I loved every bit of the conversation. It was just so beautiful. So that was Wednesday when I first got in. Thursday, he literally spent the whole day taking me around town, being my personal chauffeur, and allowing me to just do whatever I wanted to do. And that was really hard for me to accept, letting someone spend that time on me. I'm so not used to someone taking time for me that it was so, and I'm sorry, I should be looking over here. I keep looking over here, whatever. He literally allowed me to come in and shift his schedule for days. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, why would you be willing to do this? Not only did he say he wanted to repay me for the kindness that like the genuine heartfelt just kindness that I had shown to him for years and years ago, but he's like, it's COVID. I work from home. I, don't get out much. This is giving me an opportunity to do something too. And so he asks like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm so simple, but I'm thinking it's going to be boring for him. I'm like, well, I heard about the water wall. I really want to check that out. and I heard Galleria Mall is amazing. Gotta go there. I don't think I'll really do any shopping, but I just want to check it out. And I didn't even get to see half of the place. It was so huge, I was overwhelmed. And I told him I really wanted to go around the city and see some murals, like some art, graffiti art on the walls, and just really take in the culture. And so that is totally not his thing. It was so funny. We got there and I was straight up geeking, y'all. Just like, oh my gosh, like this is so beautiful. We are here. Do you see this? He's like, you're really geeking right now. I'm like, yes, I am. And it was so not his thing, but he enjoyed being able to provide that moment for me, like to take me to some place that I loved, that I fell in love with, and I'll put pictures. He enjoyed that because he was like, oh my gosh, like I'm giving this person something that they're enjoying and that they love. So it was just so amazing, so amazing. Wait, did we get something to eat? So it must have been after we went to the murals, we went to get something to eat again. And okay, let me say this too. He did not let me pay for one single thing when I was in his presence. Like, if I was with him, he would not accept gas money. He would not, he refused. It was just like, you know how some, and I think it was beyond this, but you know how some men, they're just like, if a lady's with me, I'm not making her pay for anything. And it wasn't like that. Like, we're not into each other in that way. It was like genuine friendship. And I just think he's the kind of person who, as a man, he's not gonna want to have a woman with him and he not provide in that way. And I mean, he's also able to, and it not affect him at all because he's doing well for himself. And so I was just blown away by his generosity. And it's so much more. I'm not even gonna be able to tell you everything, but it was so, guys, I feel so blessed. God set this trip up for me. My husband thought the trip was for him, for work, for training, for 2 weeks. I was just gonna come for a couple of days. But God did this for me. God knew the trip was gonna get canceled for my husband. God knew that Mosin would reach out to me and that Mosin lives in Houston. Like, I've only had to catch an Uber one time because Mosin has literally taken me everywhere that I wanted or needed to go. And it brought him joy to be able to do that. And I could see that, which is the only thing that made me feel better, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't wanna be in your way. I don't wanna, cause you to go out of your way. And it was joy to him to be able to do it. I don't know if you guys are able to really feel what I'm feeling or understand what I'm saying, because it's a lot and it's deep and it's beautiful. And I'm trying to express that, but it's very difficult to do. So that was Thursday when we checked out the murals. Where did we go eat? Oh my gosh. We went to this Mexican restaurant. Oh my gosh, that is the best Mexican restaurant I've ever been to in my life. And I'm sure there are others. Like, Texas is not short of Mexican restaurants, and that is my favorite. We went to this place called Lupe Tortilla. It was amazing. Everything was super authentic. And that was the thing, I told Mosin that I love Mexican food, so he just surprised me and took me there. And it was just so, guys, it was awesome. It was so amazing. I'm still just taking it all in. Then Friday, which was yesterday, I had told him that I wanted to go to the NASA Space Center. And so Thursday night, he's like, yeah, so just let me know what time you'll be ready tomorrow morning. I can pick you up, we'll go to breakfast, and we'll go to the NASA Space Center. I know I told you I wanted to do that, but like, you don't have to take me. You don't have to. It's like, no, we'll do it. I'm like, have you ever been? He's like, no. I'm like, are you? He was like, but I'm into that kind of thing. So we went, we had a good time. It wasn't as interactive as either of us hoped, I think, but we had a decent time. Again, he paid for everything. Then here's the kicker. I'm thinking I'm gonna pay for my $30 ticket to get into the place, right? He paid for everything. Then before we left, I'm like, I gotta go to the gift shop and get some souvenirs for the kids. So he let me just take my precious little time walking around and trying to find something for the kids. And they didn't have like a ton of stuff. Like I kept looking around. Some stuff was either too expensive, or I'm like, well, I don't really know if they're gonna use that, like it, or they might break it in 5 minutes. So I have to be strategic here, right? Well, anyway, Mosen was walking around the gift shop too, and it was a pretty big gift shop. And I saw him, like, he was like getting stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you're finding something. So you did have a good time. And he's like, yeah. And so I'm just walking around. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I found stuff for the kids. And oh my gosh, I spent $75 on them souvenirs, and I feel like, what did I even get? Anyway, so I'm all excited because I'm thinking, oh, Mosen found a lot of stuff, and that means he had a good time too. He enjoyed himself. So we leave. He's just waiting for me. He's outside of the gift shop now, waiting for me to come out. And so we're both in grad school too, getting our masters. And so that was something we connected with, talking about that. We both had schoolwork to do at different times. So we're leaving because he had something to do for school that afternoon, and work. And so we're headed back to his car, and his big old gift bag, like I have this little gift bag with stuff in it. He has this huge gift bag. I'm like, wow, you got some goodies. He's like, yeah, this is for you. And he hands me the bag. He's like, well, not really you, it's for the kids. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I just picked up some things I thought that, you know, you would like, or your kids would enjoy seeing from your experience. And these are just some really cool souvenirs. So it's for you, it's for your kids. Guys, I about lost it. I was blown away. I'm like, no, like, I don't want you to spend that money on me. You've already spent money on me, like shuffling me back and forth, taking me here, taking me there, paying for my every meal. Like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm overwhelmed, okay? So he's like, listen, don't mention it. Literally don't mention it. And I'm like, literally, I'm not gonna stop mentioning it. But he was just so kind. He genuinely like picked out gifts he thought my kids would like. They're gonna love it. And it's stuff I wouldn't have been able to afford. So it was very nice and so thoughtful. And it was such a God moment, y'all. That's what I want you to catch. This was all God. Like, God orchestrated all of this. And I'm feeling so blessed. I just feel so blessed. And so he's texting me right now. He probably is gonna say, hey, I'm taking you to the airport. Here I am thinking I'm gonna catch an Uber to the airport. He's probably not gonna let me. Anyway, we left the Space Center. He brought me back to the hotel, and I just cried over the goodness and the experience that I've had. And I'm sure I'm leaving things out accidentally, but I'll put pictures. It was just so amazing. I've had such a good time to rejuvenate and just be. Like, everybody, like, I just want to be. And that's what I'm able to do right now. And so I've had the time of my life. I cannot wait to come back. Last night was my last, full night here. And I got to meet up with some beautiful ladies. Oh my gosh, at a restaurant that apparently everyone says you have to go to. Now, it's a Black-owned restaurant, so if you're not into that or soul food, you won't care. And I don't know if most would have liked that. So it's really good that I was able to meet up with a different group of people. It was only 2 other ladies, supposed to be 3, but anyway. I'm a part of this church community online and this mentoring and coaching program. It's all connected. And there are people all over the world who are a part of this. It's Darius Daniels Ministry. I'm just going to shamelessly put that plug in there because that's my pastor, that's my life coach, that's my mentor. I love him and his family and his ministry. So he has people who follow and connect with him from all over the world. And so we have a personal Facebook group, a private group on Facebook just for us. And so I reached out in the group and I was just like, the introverted me is going to regret this. But I'm coming to Houston for a few days. Who's there? Let's connect. And so a couple of people got back to me. Some people were not available, but people got back to me and I went to the Turkey Leg Hut, which is an amazing Black-owned restaurant, with these 2 ladies that I also feel like that was a divine connection. One of them had just moved to Houston a couple of months ago with her family, and she's originally from Virginia. Guys, are you understanding what's happening here? The other girl, she was a younger girl, and she's from Houston, born and raised, and she had only been to the Turkey Leg Hut one time, so I'll put some pictures and things in here too, but it was so divine. Like, this whole experience has just been God showing me how he's going to supply my every need, how he's going to order my steps, how he's going to connect me with the right people, how he's going to put me in relationship with people who truly see my heart, people who I can connect with and who see the higher version of me. Like, I want to say that all over again, but I'm not, because I hope you got it. And if you didn't, rewind. But this whole experience has just been so amazing. For this to be my first time in Houston, I have to tell you, I'll be coming back. Thank you for listening to this long, drawn out, long-winded video. I'm gonna go now because I do need to pack my bag and get ready to just grab something to eat before I head to the airport. But I had to make this video to just, even for me, record this experience, how I feel about it, and just thank God. Like, God, thank you. Jesus, thank you. Like, Holy Spirit, you have led me in every direction that I needed to go in while I was here. And it lets me know I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Thanks for watching.